Amy and I continued our Southwest U.S. road trip by driving from Bluff westward to the small town of Boulder. It used to be a Mormon agricultural town, but it's become more of a recreational destination recently with the protection of the Grand Staircase-Escalante National Monument shown on that map. We stayed at the wonderful Boulder Mountain Lodge for 3 nights and ate at the Hell's Backbone Cafe. Here's the view from our room with a lake and Boulder Mountain in the background there, and lots of birds around, starting with red-winged blackbirds and then yellow-headed blackbirds. I've never seen the yellow-headed blackbird before. Here's a map showing some of the places that we went while we were there. I've been to the Escalante area at least nearly a dozen times, and there's so many things to do. On our first day, we went to the Anasazi State Park Museum, which has a wonderful collection of artifacts from both the ancestral Pueblans and the Fremont cultures who kind of met here. And just outside, we went through the Coombs archaeological site, which was occupied 1050 to 1200 CE. After the museum, we drove the 2 outstanding drives in the area. We're looking at the heart of Grand Staircase-Escalante National Monument. This is the hogback, a long rocky ridge with deep canyons on both sides. Over there, Dry Creek, I think, the road on top and a power line. And over here, Deer Creek, which is a beautiful creek, has water and 2 great waterfalls and some Indian ruins. And way out there, the dark in the background is Koperowitz Plateau, which is also included in the National Monument. I'm standing on Route 12 just south of Boulder, Utah, which is up there. And is it an isolated place? Escalante is down the road behind me a ways, about 25 miles. And you've got the Boulder Mountain, the Koperowitz Plateau up there, which kind of separates it. And you've got a ring of mountains all the way around. Over there are mountains. There's the Koperowitz Plateau. And down there is the Colorado River. That goes way off to the left. Canyons all around, canyons down below us here, and back to the north. But it's a truly isolated area. Last town in the United States, I guess, to be served by regular mail service and connected by telephone. For a long time, it had horse mail service across the Boulder Mail Trail, which those white rocks there, I've hiked that, and a telegraph. Here's a panoramic photograph that shows Route 12 going along the top of the really narrow hogback. Anasazi State Park in Boulder, and we have lunch at a place called Magnolia's. A bunch of hippies, I guess, based on their stickers there. Politicians are obsolete, Burning Man, so forth. But at least it looks like, and a very popular place. The food is great. We got 2 big burritos and some hand-cut fries. After lunch, we drove the Hell's Backbone Road, a gravel road built by the CCC guys in 1933. It was the first road to connect Escalante to Boulder and was a summer-only road as it snowed in the wintertime. We're driving the Hell's Backbone Road, which makes a big loop up around several wilderness areas and the Hell's Backbone area. And I think this is the lower part of Hell's Backbone. Total difference as you swing around. There's the road, and on the other side is just green forest. And some ponderosa pines even. This is the Hell's Backbone Road. On the south side is this view at the town of Escalante's down there. And then we've got the gravel road. I was right over there a minute ago,
And when I walk over here, what is that, maybe 100 feet or so, then you have this incredible view. Lots of exposed rock, and up there is Boulder Mountain. So, a real narrow Hell's Backbone, as they call it. Okay, this is the CCC bridge built in the 1930s and replaced a couple of times, I think. It was built out of pine logs originally. View to the north, straight down, Boulder Mountain, and view to the south. That's the Box Wilderness area. Pretty good, huh? And here's the bridge from above. Death Hollow actually on the other side of the bridge.
After driving the Hell's Backbone Road on the way back to Boulder, we stopped at the Escalante River trailhead shown here for a short hike.
So we just hiked up from the Escalante River down there and US 12, and here is the reason we came up here, the 100 Hands panel.
Painted on the wall above are at least 100, actually there's more than 100 pictographs of human hands and a few other things painted up there by the ancestral Pueblans. Here's a photograph of the 100 Hands panel, and following it are some of the pictographs that are nearby, and some idiot has tried to cut these out. We had a great dinner at Hell's Backbone Cafe, and the next day we returned to the Escalante River trailhead for a day hike.
Amy and I are hiking up the Escalante River, starting at the US 12 bridge. Escalante River's right over there, and not too big at this point, but we had to do a wet crossing, and we'll have a few more. We're going up to the Escalante Natural Bridge. There's the river.
Here's a GPS track of our route, starting at the right at US 12 and going to the left up the river.
I don't mind it. I'm surprised the water, you get used to the water. I don't mind the crossings at all. Well, getting out on them is the hardest part.
Okay. So there's the Escalante River, and high above it, really high above it, is the Escalante Natural Bridge. Not much of a creek that formed that little spout right there that's in the light. That's where the water comes out that created this entire arch. And as I go up, we're right under it. And if you can see over there, that's again the little spout where all the water comes out that formed this arch, because it's just a little basin here where the arch is after that spout. So anyway, up and over.
photos of several of the wildflowers we saw, starting with the penstemon, then the paintbrush, and finally the, I think, evening primrose.
So we continue on up the canyon, a third of a mile or so, and way up on the cliff, very inaccessible, you see some ancestral Puebloan ruins. Some good petroglyphs and also some graffiti. The ruins are right there. You can barely see them with the trees. And above the ruins is, I think, Skylight Arch.
Here are photographs, first of the ruins, and then second of one of the petroglyphs.
Heading back down the Escalante Canyon along the Escalante River and passing the Escalante Natural Bridge.
That evening we had a serendipitous dinner at the Hell's Backbone Grill, arranged by text, somewhat by chance, with two good friends from Knoxville, Karen and Steve, and three of us had their blue corn enchiladas, which, like everything else, were expensive but really good.
We're driving down the Hole in the Rock Road. It's an incredibly bad road, but wide. Sandy and just a washboard at least 80% of the time, seems like. Some people drive real fast on the washboards. I've been going, like right now, 15 to 20 miles an hour. The Hole in the Rock Road, I'm going to do about 26 miles of the 40 miles or so, I think. Off to the right, that's Kaparowitz Plateau. And right now we're in the Devil's Garden, it's called, which has incredibly unique rock formations, like that one. And down there, little isolated pinnacles. Devil's Garden, and this is Manatee or something Arch, I think.
Here's a photograph of some of the rock formations, which are called hoodoos generally.
This is Hole in the Rock Road, coming from Escalante that way. And we are doing the Upper Dry Fork Trailhead trail down to Dry Fork, which goes then on to Peekaboo and Spooky Slot Canyons.
Here's the trailhead map starting at the left and going along the Dry Fork only section.
So here we're descending into Dry Creek, and the Narrows are off to the right. The trail came across the mesa. It's going down, and somewhere down in there are the Narrows of Dry Creek. Coming down some slick rock, and then there's thankfully a fence that keeps the cows out of the canyons, and a pretty fancy gate for hikers there.
Here's probably a fishhook cactus along our route.
Okay, we have arrived at the beginning of the Narrows of Dry Fork. Not too impressive right here, of course, but later on there'll be higher canyon walls and a narrow canyon. Not a slight canyon, really narrow, but pretty narrow.
Here's one of the difficult sections getting down into the Dry Fork Narrows.
So now we are in the Narrows of the Dry Fork. A few hard places actually to get into it, but right here anyway, it's pretty easy walking.
Here's the most difficult section of the Dry Fork Narrows, and at this point Amy decided to wait while I went on down to the end.
Amy stopped just a little ways back. There was a big drop off, and I'm going to try to make it on down to the end of the Narrows. Here's one of the most impressive sections of Dry Fork. Finally, here's the end of the Narrows. Peekaboo and Spooky are just down a ways. Well, here's where the Narrows end. Where Peekaboo is up that canyon. Spooky is down there a short ways. And I just came out of the Narrows of Dry Fork, which the real dark spot there, that's where they end. And from the trailhead to here for me is 2.6 miles on my GPS, but they only show it 1.5 or so. Can't believe it's that much difference. I'm heading back up the Dry Fork. Amy's waiting a short ways up. This is the deepest part here, and red Navajo sandstone walls. Up the upper part is white sandstone, but a very nice Narrows. Here's the crux of the Dry Fork descent. I guess Amy decided to wait on me here, and I went on down. And it took me 40 minutes to get on down to the end of the Narrows and back to here. But I got there. I saw a rattlesnake along the way too.
Here's the rattlesnake I saw, a western rattlesnake, sometimes called a Great Basin rattlesnake, and here we're coming out of the canyon.
Start of the Narrows, we're out.
Back to the trailhead.